Okay. Hold on. Get stuff doing the Pledge of Allegiance. Just let me. Yeah. Okay, can you- Can I have that? We have this recorded.
Okay. So I'd like to call the meeting to order. First thing on the agenda is the Pledge of Allegiance. I don't want to trip on. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. You have a chair with armrests. Hey, public participation. Dave, you want to go first?
Yes, I believe, we haven't met since the final budget was passed, so I'll give you a couple things. That's what the council has primarily been dealing with. Most importantly, the, Senior Disabled Center got all the funding that they asked for. The new mill rate is 39.67. That's an increase of 1.31 mils for a percentage increase of 3.4%. That's overall. An odd number, I've forgotten the reason why, but if it's below $10,000, but above 7 was allocated additionally through the budget to Meals on Wheels because there is still tentatively a deficit there. And the council felt more what we could do to add to it. So that was added to the Meals on Wheels monies that we have already previously have added to help to make up for that
Do
deficit.
you know what it was 79, right? 79.
Yeah, it was an odd number, and it had to do with monies that were savings.
They had found some
And,
savings.
and we put the savings back, and it was decided to a specific amount that was saved to put back in. It's easier than it sounds.
Well, that's
And I don't think there's
You know about
anything
it.
major involving the senior center at all, except, once again, you got what you got for in
Mhm.
terms of funding, which is good.
Yeah, that's great. Anything else interesting we need to know about?
Anything else interesting?
That we need to know about?
No, we've been majorly dealing with that. We had a special meeting, the other night, to the, town manager, the job description, so that the new committee can go forth with, that's more detailed than whole. We didn't have one last time, that's more detailed, and very detailed.
It's a little more
And it
than-
was tweaked by all of us in one way or another, to give to the committee that's doing the town search. My understanding is, they are going, and correct me if I'm wrong, my understanding, last I heard, they were going with the consulting firm that we used last time. And one of the reasons why we're going with that is that, the consulting firm, when we did the last town manager, part of the agreement, the contract said that if for some reason the town manager was needed to be replaced, that they would do it gratis. So otherwise it would cost $30,000. So from what I last heard, that's the route they're going, whether they're gonna do regional or whatever. I have no idea, and I'm sure we'll leave a little later time. I think that's the other major thing, if you say other, so.
Okay. Kathy, is there anything you wanna talk
No,
about?
I think they've covered it, yeah.
Okay.
I think we were just going with them, like you said, some of the services were free, not the whole shebang this time, so we were gonna utilize what they can do for us without, paying them, and then go from there. And I do think we were keeping it a smaller area of a search instead of so wide.
Yeah, I know there was a discussion about that. I officially didn't want to share because I don't know the committee, I think they met last night again. And I have yet to hear.
There was the talk about not having it such a wide search.
Well, I don't think the town manager has to live in Newington anymore, isn't that correct?
That's correct.
So you don't want a big wide search if
Well,
they're
they
gonna
don't have to
commute.
live in Newington, but of course, I think we all agree, even though it's written, they must live in Newington. We would prefer that whoever is selected moves closer to Newington if they don't already live in close proximity.
Mhm. Okay, well, thank you, guys.
I have a quick question about that.
Sure.
So, you said you approved the full budget, great, thank you, appreciate it. Can we get a copy of the budget or like what you guys have asked for, or things like that? Is that something that we can have a copy of or can see a copy of?
I think it's public.
I mean, it should be.
It
Public
should be,
knowledge,
yes.
yes.
I think it's
How do we
online.
obtain that? I'm not
If I could
sure.
interrupt, we haven't gotten a written version or a completed version of the revisions that we made in 16. So we don't have it, but I believe it goes on the town site and good luck with that.
Yeah.
Trying to work on it. And I would think it should be available to the public upon request, but if you know more,
I don't know anymore.
I would reach out to Jamie, she'd definitely be able to give you that answer.
when in doubt, the town manager.
Yeah, okay, thank you, I appreciate it. Yeah, I'm good.
Okay, any other questions?
I just have one question. I know that the money that the council gave for the conjugate lunch, that all came from COVID money. That was extra money from
Yeah.
COVID,
Previous,
right? But now we're about getting extra money from savings.
because, all right.
You want me to- Yeah,
Go ahead.
when we went to present, the Democrats and the Republicans presented their, what would you call it? What they wanted to do, at the last, that you presented your,
We had presented something that would have, I don't want to get
Yeah.
into the weeds. And with other.
it's, they
At
saved,
any
they
rate, we
saved
wanted
some
to
money.
trade off monies from one other ask and transfer it over to the
So.
Meals on Wheels congregate.
Right,
And-
and instead we were able to give the money to the other department and also give
So
the senior center more
departments that
money.
basically didn't need the money that and that's where the savings are coming from.
It was, I don't even remember exactly, there was a couple things
from
that
other-
wasn't
other-
needed.
Other places, there were a variety of things that one
Was it-
party or the other.
Yeah,
moved Here and there, I felt it was needed and,
nothing that was going to hurt,
Nothing that would
anything else.
increase the
Right.
mill rate beyond what it has been increased already.
Okay, all right, thanks.
If you want the exact, I can go back and look, I just don't wanna comment about it.
Yeah, no, that's all right.
And that's how it came to the weird number, because that was the savings, and we were like, let's give it to the senior center, so.
Okay.
Okay, any other questions? Did everyone get a copy of the minutes from the last meeting? Set, any comments? No, okay. Excellent job. Thank you. Elizabeth is excellent. Okay, staff report, please.
Okay, sure. So April was a busy month with a lot of programs that were all well attended. I'll start off with the talk with the mayor. That's not officially my program, it's his, dropping in once a month. And that is going well. He's getting traffic into that office. on the days that he's here, which is wonderful. Gives people an opportunity to, talk with him, get to know him, express concerns, ask questions. So I'm grateful that he's coming once a month. Some of our programming, just to let you know, the variety that I strive for. We had belly dancing demo in class, just for a little bit of fun, because you gotta have fun. And also a seminar on preserving and utilizing home equity, a guide for seniors, which was very popular. Tai Chi and sound healing. We had a brain fitness class. We had an AARP driver safety course, seminar on pre-planning funerals. We had the UConn pharmacy students here. Again, we have them here about 2 or 3 times a year, and they presented on weight loss medications. So that was also popular. A couple craft classes, how to make the most of your doctor's appointments. And then the Central Connecticut Health District was here to present on hepatitis C and provide vaccinations if people wanted them. So we had a pretty busy month. I've had an intern from CCSU and she's been doing great. It's nice to see her progress from being really shy in front of a group to getting more confident and just being here and interacting with people. This is her last week, so we're gonna miss her. And what she said to me today or yesterday was, I really think I want to work with older adults. So that's excellent. She's a psych major and a gerontology minor. So it's nice that there are young people out there that want to work with seniors. Very encouraging, I think. So, and I think she's had a good experience here. Our new eligibility programs coordinator, Maria Zayas, is doing extremely well. She's taking appointments on her own now. She just did an offsite visit today to one of the local housing authorities. So she's jumped right in, and she's a really good match for our members, but also our staff. She fits in really well, and she's got a lot of experience, and she speaks Spanish, and that has been tremendously helpful in a couple situations already. So we're very glad to have her, and she's all settled in, I believe. I think that's all I have.
Okay. Old business, and that's the budget update, so I don't know if you have anything to add.
I'll just give you the budget numbers, and Elizabeth, I can give you a copy of this later. Of our current status, so our coffee shop now has available $15,741. The gift shop, $49,867. Membership, $64,376. Fitness membership, $23,530. And donations, $46,121 for a total of $199,635. We're in great shape in terms of budget.
So I had asked Jamie to talk to finance to see if we're getting any interest on this.
Okay,
I don't know if she ever said anything to you.
she did not, so I'll try to follow through on that.
I'm pretty sure there's special companies or special way that they, I don't know if
Okay.
she can divide it out, or,
I don't.
I was just curious, because that's a lot of money. We should be getting interest.
Okay,
Thank you.
sure.
Lillian, you know about some of the activities where we make money, and
Yeah.
Edward, you know?
Yes.
Okay, all right. I
Great.
just want, because you're new, so I'm just making sure.
Yeah.
Okay. New business. Upcoming activities.
Okay, can someone pass me one of those newsletters? That'll just be helpful.
Sure, I have one.
Oh, okay, that's what I think. I do all this and it's in my head, and then when I have to repeat it, it gets lost. So, so new activities, well, in previous years, we've had coffee and conversation with department heads in the town. And since we have a new chief of police, we're going to start off with bringing that back with the chief of police actually next week. So that'll be great for the members to meet him, ask questions, and just hear about the current state of the police department. It is Older Americans Month. May is Older Americans Month, so it's cause for celebration and time to, recognize all that seniors do in this world, not just here, but everywhere, and their impact. So we are going to have a party, because you might as well celebrate. They have entertainment coming in at the end of the month. We'll have some refreshments. The theme is powered by connection. And so I think that's a great way for all of us to connect. It's been a while since we've had a party or a large event. And the last one we had, people were up dancing, so I think it's time to have a little bit of fun, and it was a perfect excuse. So the Boomers will be our entertainment, and they play a lot of the songs that, most people would know and get up and dance to, so. We did have a craft class called diamond painting last month. And the month before, it's so popular, people asked to have a drop-in, so they could just come and do it, sort of like we have a knitting group that comes weekly. They're gonna try this, so just a new activity that was suggested by members. And anybody's welcome, they just bring their own supplies, and it's just a way of being social as well as, doing something that they enjoy. Thank you, Kathy. We have a physician, a Yale-trained physician, Dr. Wendy Hurwitz, who's coming to present on 12 tips to manage anxiety. She was here a couple months ago to present on stress management, and it was very popular, and people wanted her to come back, so she is gonna come back. We also have a book talk and sing-along from an author whose wife passed away, and she had written lots of little snippets and poems and whatnot. So this is another fun, light entertainment to do a book talk that her husband will be giving. But he also plays the saxophone, and he likes to try to get everybody to sing along. So this will be a little different. So those are just some of the activities that we have going for the upcoming month. Okay.
We have the Volunteer of the Year Committee. I don't know if they've met yet or not.
They have not, so let me update you on what's going on with that. The nomination forms just were put out today, so that they're in the cafeteria and in the office. Any staff member, any member, any volunteer can nominate themselves or anyone else or a group of volunteers for Volunteer of the Year. I gave them until May 24th. So those of you that are on the committee, that'll be the last date. And then maybe you all want to get together and talk about when you'll need to go over those and pick a Volunteer of the Year.
May I suggest either a little bit before or a little bit after our meeting on the whatever date, the first Wednesday of June?
Mm-hmm.
Perhaps that would be a good time for us to meet. It's only a few days afterwards.
Sure, yeah, we've done that in the past.
Okay.
Yeah, just come to the meeting an hour early.
Oh, yeah, great.
Yeah,
Is that what you're
yeah.
saying? Yeah, great.
Yeah.
Great idea if the community members are all up for that. Sure.
And we also look to you guys for help with
Guidance,
this,
okay.
because we don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe some of you do, but I don't know if the committee knows all the seniors that would
Well,
be.
Ed would know because he's here on a daily basis. Kathy would know a little bit because she's in the coffee shop once a week volunteering. So certainly they would have some input, but we'll give you some.
Okay.
I assume they also do a write-up, right, about why this person's being nominated and that type of thing.
Yep, so it's a short write-up on why you would nominate that person. So you'll have all that information there.
And then the volunteer dinner, that's, the date is set June 13th. Okay.
So one of the things that we have not picked yet, but I've been getting input from staff. We like to have some sort of a theme if we can. It just makes things a little easier. So I'm getting input from staff on that. I will just share some of the ideas right now. One of them is we treasure our volunteers. Our volunteers rock and roll. We could have a Hollywood theme. Thanks for helping us grow. You make a world of difference. We could have a puzzle theme, a zoo theme. These are just all things that staff, put together, and we'll pick one soon so that we can start to make the invitation and get that out to all the volunteers as soon as possible so they can put the date on their calendar.
Okay, and it was at 5 o'clock or 6? I can't. 6, okay.
6. And we will pick a caterer if we've used Italian Gourmet in the past several times. We used Public Market last year. If anybody has any suggestions for a local restaurant or caterer, let me know. You know, we usually just do chicken and rice or potatoes and a vegetable salad. We keep it simple, but we like to support the businesses in town. I know,
Always chicken.
always chicken, I know.
Always chicken.
Always chicken. Gotta make everybody happy, right?
But Jefferson House used to do it, and they did a really nice job. I don't know if they're geared up to, they stopped during COVID, I think.
Right, and I can check with them, but I did contact them about providing congregate for us, and he never got back to me, so I think there might be an outside company providing their meals now instead of an
maybe.
in-house, and then it has to go to corporate, so I'm not exactly sure where that is.
Yeah, I used to know all that stuff
I know.
when I was at Hartford Hospital, but not anymore, so. Elderly nutrition program update.
Right, so the State Unit on Aging, found $500,000 to give us for Meals on Wheels and Congregate, so we could keep it going. We had
Where was that from?
the State Unit on Aging. Okay, and, we had 3 days of having to provide congregate meals before that went into effect, and that actually went very well. There were donations from the community, that helped us to provide meals on those 3 days. So, you know, $500,000 is not gonna last us until September, so we anticipate getting another letter saying that we're short on funding again. So everybody that had been on board is in a holding pattern right now. And I will let them know if we need their help, which I'm sure we will, because unless they find more funding, we are gonna run short before their fiscal year.
But the main to check, the 500,000 is not just for us.
Okay.
So people need to have that understanding, it's divided, so how much, do you know how much we're gonna get of the 500?
I don't, you know, not that we get it specifically, but, that 500,000 will go to all the Meals on Wheels and Congregate until it runs out. So, you know, 95,000 was our projected shortfall to cover Meals on Wheels and Congregate. So 95,000, one senior center, you know, that's 20% of the 500,000, so. We'll be addressing this again, probably maybe around July 1st. Not really sure.
So I know a lot of the restaurants in the area were helpful.
They were willing, but we didn't end up having to use them because, just one, actually. But I called them all back and they're, like I said, they're all on hold, just waiting for me to call again, and I will have to do some more recruiting as well, and go back to places.
Do we know how many senior centers there are in the state?
I think there's 160 something senior centers, but CRT does not provide food for all of them.
Oh,
I believe they provide food for all of the senior centers in Hartford and Talon County, and I don't know off the top of my head how many that is.
hopefully we shouldn't be too far of a shortfall, because I was just doing the math. We got about 75 from him last time, and then we got another 7,900 this time. We're only missing about, from the 95, we're only missing about 13,000.
Correct. So we are in good shape in terms of if there's a shortfall. Very good shape, actually.
Barb, I have a question.
Sure.
With the, what people volunteer or donate for the congregate lunch, what does that equate to on a weekly basis? And is that money rolled back in to pay for things for
So
the
the-
congregate lunch?
The voluntary donation that people give.
Yep.
Yeah, so that money goes back to CRT and goes back into their budget or their funding, to help them pay for the meals.
Okay,
Does
do
that make
we
sense?
know on an average, like, you know, because I mean, when I'm here on Tuesdays, you can, depending on what food is being offered that day. I mean, there's probably anywhere from 40 plus people that are having the lunch. So you know, I know probably not everybody pays.
Sure.
But on an average, I mean, possibly what goes back to CRT on it, say on a monthly basis or whatever, because
So
obviously it fluctuates.
it does. So suggested voluntary donation for the congregate meal is $3 per person, or whatever you can afford. We keep a donation box sort of in a inconspicuous area for them to donate. It does fluctuate. I would say right now, we only get about $1 per meal. So if we have 30 people, we might have $30. Again, that fluctuates as well. Sometimes people aren't paying for a couple weeks and then they throw 20 in there. So, you know, it just really all depends. And that's the way the program is designed, really. I don't think we're collecting as much money now as we were pre-pandemic, which doesn't surprise me, but I wasn't here pre-pandemic. So, we just make sure when they sign up, they know that it is voluntary. And then it's really up to them to put in what they can put in. Okay. So I would say generally, you know, I might be sending anywhere from $175 a week to $225 a week back to CRT.
Or per month, if you're only getting 30, or is it, you're saying $30 a
Well,
day?
$30 a day, that would be 150.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so, and then we get upwards of 60 people for bingo day, so, more than that.
Now, does that, I think what you asked me to, I just wanna make sure we're clarifying, does that pay down our budget, like, does that pay down like what we owe them? The donations, like, or does it just go back into their general fund and they use it for the whole state?
It goes back into their general fund, which they use for whoever they're providing meals for.
So the two counties, there's no way that we can take the donations and use them for our citizens in the CRT program.
No,
Okay,
there's
I just
not.
wanted to, I think, part.
Is that part of your question, Kathy?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sorry. No, you,
Yeah, I
it
got
goes
where you're
back to
going.
CRT and then they use it as they see fit. And that's why it's federally funded program, because each meal, you know, is $14.85. So if people are putting in $1 or $3, there needs to be extra coverage from somewhere.
Okay. Our next meeting date is June 3rd, I think.
Is it June 3rd?
I'm gonna have my phone now.
May I ask one more question, because we're talking about the date? How many, on average, how many applications do you get for volunteer of the year?
That's a good question. That was something that I have not previously overseen. So did anybody
Does anybody
here
here
that
on
was
the
on a
committee?
committee, remember about how many?
I think I remember last year that they might have gotten a good number last year. I want to say 30, but I don't know if that's just something that's off the top of my head.
Yeah,
It seemed to be that there was a good number of nominations last year. But, you know, I think I remember that from the meeting, but I'm not 100% sure.
I know, I've been on the committee in the past, and some years it's like pulling teeth to get recommendations, and
Some years nobody, and we have to pull it out of the hat. And other years, they might have been 30, but 20 for the same person. You know, so you never know.
mhm,
It varies.
okay.
I just wanted to make sure when I suggested an hour beforehand, like if we had 150 applications, I would say more than an hour. But if it's 30 applications and maybe 20 for the same person, we can definitely do it in an hour.
Yeah, you should
And I
be
can
okay.
keep you posted on that
Yeah.
very, very easily. I mean, we already have some in today. Today was the first day that they were out and I've already got people submitting them, which is typical.
but Kathy, in the past, Jamie or Diane, who was here before her, would, make recommendations, because they know who does all the work, who does lots of work, who helps out, who doesn't, you know, whatever, so they make a lot of good recommendations. Okay, the meeting date?
Looks like Wednesday, June 5th, which is the
Oh.
week before the volunteer dinner.
Is that enough time for us to decide at that the hour before that meeting? Or do you want it the week beforehand?
I'm thinking beforehand, maybe. I hate to have you come here, but that's just a week and, well, have you ever had a volunteer that doesn't come? Again, that's not something that I know, volunteer of the year that doesn't come to the dinner because they can't make the date. That would be my only concern, but even if you met the week after the end date, which is May 24th, which if you want, I can back it up. I can, change the deadline if you want a little more time.
Change the deadline for what? I'm sorry.
I could change it from the 24th of May, back to say the 17th. So it gives people
The date
two
that
and a
the
half
forms are
weeks
due.
that the forms are due, and then it gives the committee a little more time. But again,
Well, I don't think it, especially if we're talking about 30 some odd papers, I can't imagine, I mean, I can read 30 papers in, a few minutes. I'm assuming they're writing like a paragraph and not giving me like a 3-page dissertation, yeah.
mhm.
So, I mean, I'm willing to, part of the committee, to come the week before, the Wednesday at the same time here at 6 o'clock. If, who else is in the committee? What does their calendar look like?
I'm gonna be back on the 20th.
Okay.
So this will be the 29th.
Yeah, that's fine.
So,
All right, sounds good.
suggest 29th at 6 o'clock.
Okay.
So we'll be here at.
Is that, can we make that available? Can we meet here?
I will do that, yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
That'd be easiest.
So 6 o'clock, Wednesday, May 29th?
Yeah.
Okay. In this or whatever room?
Yeah.
And I forgot who were the members. I know Mark and
Lillian, Mark,
Kevin.
and
Ed
Ed.
and William.
Okay.
So 6 o'clock on the 20th, let me get in. My phone was off.
I'll put it in our room book, so it's booked.
So the next meeting is, June 5th. Is everyone okay with that?
Yeah.
Okay. 6 o'clock. And public participation again, any comments?
Shut up.
So it's nice to have somebody new from the council know what goes on here. Because, I've heard, well, it's a place you go to play bingo.
Oh, it's so much more.
So,
I know that.
It's really nice. And we're pretty proud of what goes on here. I think we have good staff, we have a nice facility, and we're pretty busy.
We've been busy this week and part of last week because of the art show with, lots of parents and children coming in, some grandparents, which is great because it gets them to know that at least we're here, and that there are things going on. And personally, I love hearing the kids' voices running around the halls, looking for their artwork. It's really been a nice experience. I like having the art show here.
I got here early, some of the artwork is amazing.
It is incredible. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
wow.
And then the book sale is coming, this coming weekend, is it?
It is, yeah, and the Human Services Volunteer Luncheon was today, so we've had a lot going on in the last, couple weeks with outside activity.
Are they doing a plant sale at the?
They are, they're
They
doing
are.
a plant sale, yep, to raise money for the Giving Garden.
So you know about our garden, okay? I'm just doing a sell job, that's.
I'm already sold on the senior center, you don't have to sell me.
Okay. All right. A motion to adjourn?
Well,
Oh.
I have one question. Can you let people know what you've done as far as research, as far as substitutions for like the congregate meal that you met with the school and different other options, so people are aware of what all the work you've done?
Sure, I reached out to a certain number of restaurants, didn't get through the whole list before we got the funding, so I will, like I said, continue to reach out just for the future. Ask if they can help us out. I did meet with a staff person that runs the culinary program over at the high school to see if they could help us out at all, even if it meant preparing meals, but we paid for the cost of the food, but the students would make meals. He was 100% on board. which is great. And we don't have a plan for this year because the students won't be in school for the summer. So it's likely that it won't work out, until the fall. But he was very, very excited, to help us out and get the students involved, which is just one more intergenerational piece that I think would be great to add to what we already have. I also talked to Cedar Mountain Commons about them providing meal on a regular basis, once or twice a month, again, at the cost of food, if they couldn't donate it. Same thing with Jefferson House, but I just haven't heard back yet. I will also contact the school and see if maybe we can purchase milk from them, from the cafeteria, again, in the fall, at a reduced price, because, you know, we also have to think of, well, you know, drinks or beverages, and they are used to getting milk, so it'd be nice to just get the small cartons, again, maybe at cost, same cost as school will pay. We did get several private donations, and we've put those aside and sent letters, thank you letters to those people, letting them know that we will use these funds for this in the future. Hopefully we won't have to return them because it was specifically for Congregate. I think that's about, without my list in front of me, the majority of what I've done.
So that article that went in the Rare Reminder, maybe that's what they read to donate some money.
Yep, it could be, yep. So people heard about it on social media and really responded, I think, quite well. We were very, very fortunate.
Any other questions?
Did I forget anything?
Okay, a motion to adjourn.
Second.
No, who,
I make a motion to
Oh.
adjourn.
I'll second it.
all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so carried. Thank you all for coming. So nice to have a quorum after a year with no quorums.
Oh, yeah, we're still on. We're still